Thank you, and good morning to AM Arizona. Thank you so much for being with us. aztv.com is the website. SheriRiley is with us on the phone, founder and chief partnership strategist for Glue Inc. Sheri, welcome. We're going to talk about how you can realize an optimum life balance. That is amazing because we always strive for a balance, don't we, Sheri?
Yes, we do, and it's one of those hard intangibles that I really know is possible, but it does take work.
What is the first, do we have steps? I mean, can we go from point A to point B to point C to find this? What is the foundation? What do you teach us?
Well, the first step is removing the idea of balance. The mindset that balance is something we achieve is the first step. It's not really something we achieve, but it's something we believe.
Oh.
We first have to even understand that balance is obtainable and then change the perspective, because it's not being able to juggle everything at one time. It's being able to get all things done over time.
Wow.
And that's where it starts.
I like that.
Well, basically, Sheri, what you're doing is you're talking about women.
Women, we try to do that former. We won't satisfy ourselves to do the latter. Yes, Lou, you're correct. We think we can balance everything. We think we can multitask. Really, when it comes to this thing we call multitasking, isn't exactly, well, I guess it is, but sometimes you don't devote enough attention to one thing and you don't do them thoroughly.
Correct. And you make the process even longer because, you know, it's like you're trying to move 8 boulders up a mountain all at one time, which takes longer than just let's get one boulder up and then let's go get the next boulder up. But
That's
what
funny.
happens is you get a break in between, because if you think about moving one boulder up, then you get a moment to walk back down the hill, take a breather, and then move the next boulder up, instead of just juggling all 8 of them at the same time.
It's the visual I'm getting right now that's making me giggle also.
Hey, I must say, Sheri, isn't the boulder usually the husband?
That is a big part of it.
You also talk about peace and a positive mind.
Yes.
What are you talking about there?
You know, again, back to the mindset, I think every morning we wake up with our to-do list, either the last thing we thought about or the first thing we think about in the morning. And immediately the burden of all the things we need to get done start our day. Instead of waking up with that mindset of, here's all the great opportunities I'm going to take advantage of, here's all the great things that I accomplished yesterday, instead of, oh my God, I didn't get this done and I didn't get that done and now I've got to do this. And the biggest part of the mindset is high achievers are always overwhelmed. And they're overwhelmed because they have so much to do. So if we learn to just get comfortable in feeling overwhelmed instead of trying to alleviate that feeling or thinking that that's an unnatural or unhealthy feeling. It really is, okay, I'm overwhelmed because, you know, as we know, the Bible says my cup runs over.
You know
that
what?
means you're full.
You know what, Sheri, you're so right. I think in the business world, which I've been a part of, and Tanya's certainly a part of, we've always heard about those people that have too much to do always get the job done.
Yes.
Yes, I love the way you said yes and let it hang there, Sheri. Yes, the answer to that question is yes, but there's a but that follows that, isn't there, Sheri?
Yes, there is. Yes, there is. And I think it's one of those things where when we get that mindset and when we begin to understand the timing of it all is when we really start to be able to learn the value of balance.
You know, going back to waking up in the morning, don't you think some of this is, this is a scenario, let me paint this for you. You're lying in bed, you lie down, fall asleep middle of the night, or you wake up with these thoughts, I have to do 5 things, and they're rolling in your head. Now, we have found if you get up and write those down, you can go back to sleep much easily. I've learned that. But when we wake up in the morning, it's those things we don't want to forget to do, so we hit them immediately in our mind.
I'm sorry, there was a little glitch right at the end. Say that last part again.
So when we get up in the morning, we don't want to forget those things that we need to get done, and so we hit them immediately. We're on that in our thought process immediately.
Immediately. And what happens is now your mind is 100% focused on one thing, which goes back to the, not spending 100% of your time on 10% of who you are. So now you've got 100% of your mind set on these 5 things versus the other plethora of things that could happen in that day. Enjoying just a moment with your children, reading to them, instead of it being, oh my God, now I got to read to the kids, and I got to get them to bed, and I got to feed them. But it's like being present in that moment. So yes, you've got to do those 5 things. But what I found, Tanya, is when I acknowledge those 5 things, writing them down, but then allow myself to focus on everything that I want to accomplish
individually.
that day.
Writing down is a fabulous tool. Writing it down does a lot for our mind, doesn't it, Sheri?
And it's out and it's done, and you can reference back to it, and then it also gives you a great benchmark to check off. When you check that thing off and say, okay, we're finished with that, and celebrate that. A lot of times, instead of celebrating the things that you have gotten done, you're still focused on what you have to do next.
Well,
so it's like a gerbil. You're constantly moving without ever just stopping and celebrating that moment.
Sheri, I know I've got something that I need to get done right now. It's called a commercial break. We're going to take a short break. You stay right where you're at, and we'll be back with you momentarily.
Perfect. Thank you.
On the phone for us is SheriRiley. She is founder of Blue Inc., and her client list reads like who's who. Converse, Turner Network Television, TNT, Atlanta Thrashers, the NBA and NBA Entertainment, Elite Model Management, Converse, and Crown Royal. I imagine Crown Royal was interested in method number 1. Healthy living is more than diet. I bet they really capped right on that one, didn't they?
You know what? But after you've had some Crown Royal, you really don't care.
You don't care.
Huh?
You really don't care. They are.
You can have a positive outlook.
Yes.
Sheri, this is fascinating to me because all of these things are so important in all of our lives if we can commit to them. Method 4, you say live in your POWER, their power. What does that stand for?
That is an acronym for perspective, ownership, wisdom, engagement, and reward. And you said it, Lou. It's like you have to commit. And what the POWER acronym, living in your power, that is my steps to help people commit. And the first part is that perspective. When we talked about in the morning, waking up with a positive perspective, waking up and meditating or praying or just getting quiet in your own thoughts before you start attacking that to-do list. And then taking ownership, Lou, again to your reference earlier about the husband. But a lot of times as women, we've got to take ownership of how much of this are you taking on that you really don't have to.
Yeah.
And then living in the wisdom of what you get from those 2 steps. Once you clear the mind and once you get focused and once you take ownership, then you begin to make better choices and better decisions. Did you really have to go that extra mile when the first mile was just enough? And it was excellent in and of itself. And then you really become more engaged in your own life. You start to widen that gap between the 10% you're focused on and the other 90%, hobbies, extracurricular activities, really enjoying time with your family and friends. And that's when you get the reward. That's when you realize you look over a year and you have done everything you set out to do, but you weren't stressed and you weren't pressed. And
therein lies the key, getting it all done without the stress. You had a couple steps here. We've heard various methods. We've had other people have programs similar to yours. Of course, we know they're out there. But you have added building lasting confidence and the courage to be faithful. You very seldom see those in other programs.
Yes, and that is the key. And it's very specific at number 9 because when you go through, number 8, when you go through all those other methods, they're very much the surface. But when you get to that final step of having to do all those things, it takes courage. It takes courage to be the vice president of a major company and decide you really want to just do charity work, or you're really more fulfilled in a different position, or to realize I've actually accomplished every dream and goal I set out to accomplish, and I'm 42.
You say sometimes we are so busy with the work of life that we don't sit still and take time to listen to our heart. Could that maybe be a career change even?
That could be a career change, which is something I've done and others around me have done. That could be deciding on a career. If you've been a mother and now you're deciding that I really do want to go back into the workforce. It could be, you found the doctor gave you some medical information that wasn't positive, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and you have to make lifestyle changes. Yeah. Those things for high achievers takes courage, because what they have been doing for 20 or 25 years at the highest level, now they've got to make a life decision to make changes. And that takes a lot of courage.
Here's one that I agree wholeheartedly with, Sheri. Happy is a choice.
Yes.
Many people don't believe that, do they?
No, they don't. There's so many, especially, again, with high achievers, because they're always chasing something. And they fail to realize that no matter how much they chase, if they never decide to be happy, if they never decide to find joy in that moment, if they never decide to be content, they're just always going to be chasing. And there's nothing wrong with the chase. I'm a high achiever. I'm an A personality. But what I found is that when I made the decision to be happy, happiness came. Happiness was there. Happiness was all around me. When I decided to laugh, one of the biggest things that I talk about when I speak is just laughing. So many, think about all the high achievers that you're around. Very rarely do you just see them laugh. There's an element of success that makes people feel like that they have to have a certain disposition. But laughter, laughing, being happy, deciding to be happy is such a major piece of just living in balance, because that laughter allows you to really realize everything is not that serious.
Yes, that is so true. Many times we think that things are more dire and serious than they are, not to just repeat what you said. When you talk to people, Sheri, and do you hold workshops? How do you conduct your instruction?
Yes, we have individual consulting. We have workshops, and I also do speaking engagements. And for more information, I would love to let everyone know, I believe you guys have it there as well, that they can visit exponentialliving.com. But we do have workshops as well as individual consulting and counseling.
I love the way you put this. Many of us work 8 hours per day, commute for at least 1 hour, spend 2 hours eating, watching TV for 5 hours each day, spend nearly 2 hours a day using a computer. That's nearly 18 hours, of course, and you can do the math yourself. Yes. But so many people live in that type of environment today.
Without question. Sheri, do you travel the United States? Indeed. Can people here in Arizona take advantage of the 9 ways achievers can realize optimum life?
Yes, I do travel. I actually was on the West Coast, out in Los Angeles twice just last week. So I would love to come to Arizona. I would love to. Actually, one of my favorite places to visit is Scottsdale. I absolutely love Scottsdale.
I think we need to get you in Arizona, Sheri. Thanks for talking to us. Great thoughts.
Thank you very much. I really appreciated the opportunity to share.
You're very welcome. Have a great day, Sheri.
Thanks, Sheri.
Thank you. You guys too.
Terrific.